creepy and cool TikToks that will blow your mind. Are you ready? Are you ready? Let's go!
Disclaimer: this video is for entertainment purposes only. Please do your own research, as these clips haven't been fact-checked.
Did you know that bleach and rubbing alcohol create chloroform?
Yeah, I did. Did you know that if you mix lye and water and boil it, it will dissolve flesh and bone? It will liquefy a whole human corpse in about 5 gallons. Chemistry's fun. To further elaborate on your shit, though, you can take a 12-volt car battery, run its current through salt water, and then you can get chlorine, which is bleach, which can also be distilled into chlorine gas, which, I mean, at that point you can also get sodium chloride, aka salt, take the chloride out of it and get pure sodium metal, which is a metal so reactive that it explodes when it comes in contact with oxygen and has to usually be stored in mineral oil. Yeah. Have fun!
Check that guy hard drive. For real.
Historical photos you haven't seen before. An Alabama restaurant where a family orders ice cream from the colored side of the counter. Pablo Escobar posing for a photo outside the White House. Charles Manson's initial booking photo after the Taylor Bianca murders in 1969. This is Audrey Empson, who was America's first supermodel and ended up spending most her life in a mental asylum. This image seems like a normal group of judo fighters after a competition. In actual fact, the man on the right was named Osama, going on to lead extremist groups and commit mass terror attacks against the U.S. One to boys running for their lives across infamous Sniper Alley while carrying their dog. This is a photo of Annette Kellerman promoting a women's right to wear a fitted one-piece bathing suit in 1907. She was arrested for indecency. A salesman has his motorized roller skates refueled at a gas station 1961. A secret camera inside a man's arm cast, capturing one of the only ever photos inside the U.S. Supreme Court. Louis Armstrong gives an autograph to a familiar-looking French punk in 1961. Iranian amateur bodybuilder posing with his homemade.
Wow, look at that. I also bet that he's not in the museum of his country. Define fair. Ah. Gnosticism.
Photos. This is what a real, authentic plague mask from the 1500s looked like. This is what the biggest leaf ever found in the Amazon rainforest looks like compared with an adult man. In a deck of cards, every king except for the King of Hearts has a mustache. This right here is a photo from President Abraham Lincoln's first inauguration in 1861. This is what a stack of $1,000 worth of uncirculated $1 bills looks like next to a stack of $1,000 worth of used $1 bills. American Fruit Loops and Canadian Fruit Loops are totally different colors. This, from 1896, is what one of Pablo Picasso's first ever self-portraits looks like. You can tell the difference between cheap pasta and expensive pasta by looking at them. This is what the American candy section looks like in a UK store. This right here is a photo from President Abraham Lincoln's first inauguration in 1861. This is what the Rosetta Stone looks like from the front. This is what a husky looks like compared with a wolf. This rootless tree being kept alive by another tree. This skull of a platypus. This fox that froze in the lake and then was cut out to be used as a landmark.
Wow. A plague mass, Perry the Plague Mass.
Mournful wail that it's impossible for me to forget. This is what it looked like, this is what it sounded like, but how can I tell you about the way it smelled? It smelled of filth, it smelled of disease, and it smelled of death. We've just seen something that's probably the most horrible thing I've ever seen in my life. Is that typical of ward life? Yes, there are 5,300 patients at Willowbrook, which is the largest institution for the mentally in the world. The ones that we saw were the most severely and profoundly. There are thousands there like that, not going to school, sitting on the ward all day, not being talked to by anyone, only one or two or three people to take care of 70 people on the ward, sharing the same toilet, contracting the same diseases together. 100% of patients at Willowbrook contract hepatitis within 6 months of being in the institution. Most patients at some time in their life have
Why is dark?
parasites. The incidence of pneumonias is greater than any other group of people that I think exist in this country. Trauma is severe because these patients are left together on a ward, 70 people basically unattended, fighting for a small scrap of paper on the floor to play with, fighting for the attention of the attendants who are overworked, trying to clean them, feed them, clothe them, and if possible pay a little attention to them and work with them and develop their intelligence. But what in fact happens is that they go downhill.
I couldn't even watch the entire video.
Born in the 80s or 90s, you grew up in a world that doesn't exist anymore. You remember when friendship meant knocking on someone's door, not sending a text. When Saturday mornings were made for cartoons, not scrolling feeds. When happiness came from mixtapes, bike rides, and streetlights telling you it was time to go home. But here's what makes your generation different. You were the bridge. The last to know life without technology, and the first to grow up adapting to it. You lived through payphones and dial-up, and then watched the world transform into something faster, louder, and harder to escape. And maybe that's why people born in the 80s and 90s carry a certain ache, a nostalgia for simplicity, a quiet wish that joy could still feel as easy as it once did. If that feels like you, it's because you carried two worlds inside you.
The good old days. And people say God isn't real.
This is the only evidence that the first woman in human history is still alive, and it's absolutely chilling. In 1841, a French photographer took a picture of a woman standing in front of the Luxembourg Palace in Paris, and her eyes looked like they had seen centuries. But the strange part came later. Over the years, 23 other photos started showing up in different cities, different decades, and the same woman was always in them. Most people said it was just coincidence, but in 1964, an anthropologist found a piece of an old Hebrew manuscript in an abandoned synagogue. The text described Lilith not as a myth, but as the first real woman. She was said to be cast out of Eden because she refused to obey, and cursed to walk the earth until the final cycle. But here's the scariest part. An AI facial recognition program at Princeton University was scanning footage from airports, hospitals, and bus stations, and it kept detecting the same face everywhere. For over 180 years, only one match appeared in the database. The file name, Lilith 0.1F. Her last sighting was in Romania, entering a ruined church. The video, it cuts out after a flash of light and a whisper, the cycle is about to be completed.
This is probably a vampire.
I think you're reading too much into this. They were great friends, and that's it. And Jackie Kennedy was not a guy.
What if Lucifer isn't in hell, but locked under the Vatican? In 1853, the church uncovered a hidden tomb beneath St. Peter's Basilica. Inside, a black coffin, wrapped in 7 chains, covered in 72 symbols, each one tied to a demon from the Ars Goetia. The church believed those symbols weren't decoration, they were containment. And each time the world fails, war, famine, corruption, a chain breaks. One snapped in 1914, another in 1945, then 1968, and again in 2001. Only 3 remain. The Vatican denies the tomb exists, but deep beneath Rome, Lucifer is moving.
We are safe. We are covered by the blood of Jesus.
Okay, one more time.
Oh gosh.
Somewhere over the rainbow.
Well, why do you think everybody's coming out like this shit?
I don't know. Maybe just because I love them all and I hope they all love me.
We do love him.
And I love them.
You think it's for the pure publicity, you're out of your mind.
Absolutely, because he's one of my most favorite people.
I've been working on it. Oh, she's the greatest.
Oh God.
We're gonna get married, by the way.
Oh,
Don't let her husband find out.
I can't wait. He
What?
really is truly terrific, and I bigomet. He is, and I really love him because he keeps
Wait, we
me
gotta get
happy.
David in here.
Yes,
Oh,
and David,
this is our little brother, so called.
he is my little brother,
In the true sense.
Well, the next month.
and I love him. Oh.
Imagine if this was a Hollywood actor and a 13-year-old girl.
Rare photos. A fox was found
Oh,
frozen in
God.
ice in Sweden with his last breath still visible. The floods in Valencia have left the streets looking like an apocalypse. Hulk, the world's biggest pit bull, is 12.5 stone and is still growing. A rare shot of the Statue of Liberty taken from the balcony at his torch. The entrance to it has been closed since 1916. An
Wow.
X-ray showed a candy cane stuck inside someone's rectum. This
Ugh.
giant sequoia
Why?
tree was estimated to be over 2,600 years old when it was cut down in the 1890s. The oldest place on planet Earth is Mount Roraima in Venezuela. It is one of the most beautiful and impressive natural wonders in the world. The Hebridean is a
Ooh,
sheep
look
breed
at
from
that
Scotland,
goat.
typically sporting 2 pairs of horns. This is what Las Vegas looked like in 1895. Huge craters scar the Nevada desert from nuclear tests in the 1950s and later years. A Viking-era ring inscribed with the words for Allah was found in the grave of a woman buried 1,200 years ago in Birka.
Wow. Oh, Hulk the Pitbull is dead, by the way.
I was watching Peter Pan and realized something disturbing. At first, it seems innocent. Peter takes kids to Neverland so they'll never grow up. But here's the twist. In the original story, Peter doesn't rescue the lost boys. He kidnaps them. He promises they'll stay young forever. He's obsessed with eternal youth and hates adults. But here's the disturbing part. When the kids start to grow older, Peter unalives them, keeping his promise that they'll never grow up. And it gets darker. Captain Hook was once a lost boy, too. He escaped Peter's control. He is even trying to stop Peter from taking more kids to Neverland. Notice how he never attacks the lost boys. But only Peter. Peter Pan wasn't a hero.
Want to hear about the time I cut off Hook's hand and threw it to the crocodile?
He was the real villain all along. The lost boys mysteriously disappear. No one ever sees them again. To die will be an awfully big adventure.
I find that almost all, the fairy tales have a very dark origin. What do you think?
The FBI found bodies sewn together like Frankenstein in a human chop shop in Arizona.
Described as unsettling, but it sounds a whole lot worse. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility In 2014, he saw everything from buckets of heads, arms, and legs when the FBI raided the building.
Confused and angry. We thought this was going to be doing some good.
He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner. Body parts piled on top of each other inside Biological Resource Center, where families donated their loved ones for medical research. Some say the company violated everything they promised. The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. The company sued months after the FBI raided families claiming their loved ones weren't treated with dignity and respect, a promise written on their own consent forms. The company also accused of selling body parts for profit after saying they'd only use the parts they needed and would cremate the ones they didn't and return them. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400, a leg about $1,100. They'd even sell knees and feet alone for under $500.
Can I ask, who is buying dead body parts? McDonald?
So now the Anunnaki are communicating with people through their smart TVs.
I'm absolutely serious. Do not listen to anyone talking about the Anunnaki. The amount of likes and shares that video's got. I am the foremost expert. I've solved things that no one else has. I've read every single translation I can possibly get my hands on. These people just make up stuff. Up to you. If you want to believe stuff, fine. But if you want evidence-based stuff, follow me, because I show the evidence. This person hasn't got any evidence that it was the Anunnaki doing that. There's no benefit to the Anunnaki doing that. They've got a depopulation program going on at the moment, which they'd already spoken about in ancient texts, and that's why we have the Rh negative blood, blah, blah, blah. I've done all videos, deep dive documentaries with evidence. But if you want to believe they're trying to communicate through the TV, then good luck to you. Don't follow me, because this isn't the channel for you.
Okay, so you're the Anunnaki expert now.
$1 trillion building a secret underground city. Her name is Catherine Austin Fitts, and she formerly served as Bush's Assistant Secretary of Housing and Urban Development. He says that the United States government built this in secret in case of a near extinction event for the rich and powerful. She claims that this isn't just some underground tunnel, but that this is a massive underground city across the United States with over 170 bases. She even says some are under the ocean and that they are all connected with transportation. She started researching this in 2020 and says that on her website, missingmoney.com, you can go and look at the actual government financials and make a decision whether or not this is true for yourself. Now, there have been theories about this for decades. So are we finally getting the proof? As always, let me know what you think about all of this
down below. Nobody can hide from God or Jesus. Why that's so difficult, for people to understand?
You guys, check this out. Black people of America, you see this? This is an African German in the early 1940s wearing a swastika. You have been lied to, okay? Period. Here's another image that is not AI. You can look it up on ChatGPT of two Afro-Germans in the 1940s during the Holocaust. Another image of a family, Afro-German and German together. Again, I'm not saying everything was peachy. They weren't exterminating us. History has a lot to explain, and honestly, if you guys keep educated, you would understand that the regime, as far as the Nazi regime, was not so bad whatsoever. If you're a Christian man or you're a Christian woman, then it really goes into the morals of true principles of being conservative and being proudful of where you come from. Share this video. Share this video with a lot of people, right? And spread the message, period.
Oh, no, you didn't just do the thing. But let me know how you feel about this in the comment, folks. Giants in Florida. That's interesting.
Rooms in your house that were designed for purposes you'd never guess. The breakfast nook in Victorian homes wasn't created for cozy family meals. If you look closely at old house designs, these nooks were strategically positioned to overlook the kitchen. Wealthy homeowners would sit there pretending to enjoy breakfast while actually monitoring their servants for any signs of theft or laziness. The elevated seating gave them a clear view of every movement. What seems like a charming dining spot was designed as a surveillance station. Walk-in closets weren't designed for organizing wardrobes. In the early 1900s, these rooms served a much darker purpose. They were tuberculosis isolation chambers. When someone in a wealthy household contracted the disease, families would seal them inside these small rooms to protect everyone else. The closets had ventilation but were kept separate from living spaces. Today we fill them with shoes and clothes, never knowing they were once quarantine cells. Powder rooms got their name from a practice that sounds bizarre today. In the 1700s, wealthy guests wore elaborate powdered wigs that needed constant maintenance. These small chambers were built so people could reapply white powder to their wigs without covering the main house in dust.
What?
Servants would help shake powder onto wigs while guests stood in these tiny rooms. The guest bathroom you use today was designed for wig maintenance.
This footage proves that people 100 years ago were more advanced in many technologies than we are, and now I'm going to show you technologies of the past that are unbelievable. For example, this archival footage from as far back as 1925. Don't you notice anything strange? They show a car driving without a human being because this is the first Opel car on autopilot. What about this anti-theft suitcase? When a thief picks up the suitcase, 3 giant pins shoot out of it and the handle clamps down on his hand. But if the thief did try to escape, you could easily catch him with this net shooting device where he wouldn't stand a chance. And in these shots from 1950, there's a folding mini electric motorcycle that could go up to 70 kilometers per hour. Would you ride one of these? But most of all, we were surprised by these giant monocycles of 1930, which could accelerate to almost 100 kilometers per hour and were very easy to control. But why did they hide all this technology from us?
So who shoot these shots in those times?
In the 1930s, they were giving x-rays on every pregnant woman to measure her pelvis. And then in the 1940s, they discovered that that caused the baby to have cancer. So they had to stop it. And then in the 1950s and 60s, they had another drug called thalidomide, which caused babies to be born without arms and legs.
Oh, man.
And then they had to stop that. But you see, in every case, it was after the fact. In the 1990s, they were giving Cytotec to induce labor in women who had had a previous cesarean. And they ended up with hundreds and hundreds of ruptured uteruses and many, many, many dead babies before they found out, finally, in 1999, that they shouldn't do that. But you see, there's not a good history in obstetric practice of careful study of the long-term effects of all these interventions. This is why, if you really want a humanized birth, the best thing to do is to get the hell out of the hospital.
They've been experimenting on us from the beginning, folks.
They would progressively infiltrate all of the races. They would get the coding from the angelic human 12 tribes by raiding the 12 tribes, sexually interbreeding with them to get a genetic line to create a super race that would carry the codes, the Stargate codes that corresponded to Earth's grids. So they had, not only were they fighting for the Templar now they were targeting the angelic human race because it had the codes, and if they could interbreed, because now they were capable of creating live offspring, if they could create a race that would hold all of the Stargate codes, and they'd have to do it one group at a time. They'd have to infiltrate Tribe 1 and Tribe 2 and Tribe 3 and very carefully interweave what tribes they raided to create a race of children, a race of human mutants that would look like the rest of us, that would have the keys to the Templar running in reverse. This is what they tried to do, and it was an official agreement that was made. What we're living right now is the end of that agreement. There's some interesting things done in order to fulfill that agreement. Interesting and horrific. The most important one that I'll add to this, because there's a whole list of them that I could go through, and I'll just go through the list real quick without having time to elaborate.
Who are they? Are they fallen angels? Every child deserves a parent, but not every parent deserves a child.
People are emotionally attached to food. They eat food because they're having problems. They eat sugar because they have the inability to give love or receive love, because sugar is associated with love.
Is that right?
Yes.
So how did you know that, Dr. Africa?
And salt is associated with anger. And black people eat the most salted potato chips of any racial group in America because they're angry.
Okay.
And
What about this hot sauce thing I see? We do have a hot sauce problem.
We're going into hot sauce, and you're also going into vinegar. Because vinegar comes with the hot sauce, and vinegar is a chemical that's made from eating meat. People get addicted to the chemicals they take and the chemicals they make inside of their body.
Okay.
That's two addictions.
Okay.
The chemicals you take and the chemicals you make.
Okay.
So when you're eating a lot of meat, you're making a lot of vinegar, as well as ammonia.
Okay.
You see, that's the chemical addiction. So they're going to thrive for that.
Okay.
The hot sauce in their mind is trying to drive them, stimulate them to have more money or more lottery tickets or something. It's a cycle. It's emotional attachment to the food that we have.
I've seen people who wouldn't start a meal without locating the hot sauce.
Yeah, because they're trying to,
Where is the hot sauce?
stimulate themselves to be rich or
I think
whatever
they're
their
trying
fantasy
to cover
is.
up the food.
No.
I can't imagine.
It's emotional. It's emotional.
Okay.
People eat for emotional reasons.
Okay, feelings.
Yeah, they want something to crunch on to get rid of frustration. They chew, you see.
Practice fasting, praying, and exercise.
Type things in her body, you know, at a Christmas party. I just mentioned something about the blue light, and so this girl says to me, I've had that. And I said, oh, let's go talk. So we go down the little hallway, and she said, you're not going to believe this, but I'm from Maryland, and my dad was really high up in the NSA. And he took me camping when I was a little girl, and we made a fire, and we're looking up at the stars, and he says to me, what if I told you that God was an alien, and this was all just a big experiment? And she said, I never forgot it. And I was like, holy crap. I mean, these are the kinds of conversations I have with people when I open my mouth. What I do find recurring is that there are many people in this phenomena that have a military-industrial complex connection, like my NASA relatives. My Uncle Jack worked under Wernher von Braun as a mechanical engineer from the 60s forward. He worked on Saturn V, he worked on space shuttle experiment where they had that tethered satellite, and they built it with the Italians, and it broke off, and then it got swarmed by UFOs, and it was all caught on video. He worked on that. You know, part of me wonders how much of it is actual non-human entities and how much of it could be a MK Ultra mind control scenario. And the red flags for that is the military relatives. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying I could have been put in a program.
Jesus Christ is God. Don't let anyone fool you.
The government or the cabal or whatever you want to call them are now allowing actual footage of mythical creatures to be shown to people because we live in an age where everyone thinks that all the videos are AI generated. But I've been around the technology for a long time now, and I am able to spot with 100% certainty whether or not a video is AI or not. And this is a real video that we are seeing right here. And this isn't the first time where we've seen one of these mythical creatures from legends from thousands of years ago show up in modern day. Just last year we had a cat with wings randomly show up.
No way.
And what happens with these things is they spawn into existence because there are different timelines going on. And perhaps CERN or other people underground in the underground tunnels are doing experiments with the timelines. And they are causing the veil to be lifted and for these creatures to be spawning in. And there's also another factor with this, and that is the age of Aquarius. We've been in the age of Pisces for thousands of years. I could go on and on about talking about this, but we're going into a new age currently. And I can talk about this all day, but I know that people are just going to say, oh, the video's AI, and then move on and scroll and not even think about anything. But I know there are a lot of other people who are interested and are thinking about why reality is the way it is, and they're theorizing all this stuff. So if you want to know more, just stay and listen. So this is the map of Earth, and I'm not going to explain it, but because I've already done it before. But we are going into a new timeline, basically, the age of Aquarius. And that means that there are new creatures that are coming in. It's not mostly from beyond the ice wall and on these other lands, which we already know exist. These are literally just spawning in out of thin air because they've been trapped in a different reality for so long, and now they're able to come into this one because all the timelines are converging into one. And we see this with the movies because the movies tell us the truth in plain sight. So that's what's going on. There is literally a griffin out there, and people have video footage of it, and no one believes that it's real.
It's okay, it's friendly. He's good friends with Harry and what's her name? Hermione, whatever.
It was not the Great Flood, but the 1600s experienced enough water to cover railroad tracks that had to be dug out. In the 1800s, enough water that would take over 800 ships and pull them together in a cluster in San Francisco Bay. The remnants burned in 1851. Enough water in the 1600s to bury pyramids in South America and in Mexico. It was enough water to take an entire island and pull it back to the mainland. It was enough water to make a land with no Great Lakes into a land of Great Lakes. The evidence is all around us in paintings, maps, testimony, but you will not find this 16th century event in any history book.
So what weapons were used to destabilize all the earth? Oh.
Where the hell did you find that thing? Huh? What the fuck, man? Why don't you bring home rats instead?
There's Ariana Grande.
The Illuminati are actually run by these 13 bloodlines, which are all of the royal families in Europe and in England, and they need the blood because they are, in fact, not human. They take human shape. They are reptilians.
In 1993, the Kowloon wall city was demolished. Official reports cite health concerns and crime rates, but some former residents tell of a different reason, rarely discussed publicly. They called it the Rensuol, literally human latch. According to survivors, a cult operating quietly within Kowloon convinced its followers that their bodies contained a hidden anatomical anomaly. If activated, this anomaly would cause the body to invert upon itself. Authorities dismissed it as mass hysteria, but shortly before demolition, photographs surfaced from Kowloon's internal hospital depicting residents whose bodies had seemingly turned inside out. The human latch was real.
Who's narrating this? Excellent voice for this type of videos.
Do you understand how crazy it is that this is the case? That your kindergarten teachers are unknowingly responsible for making you think a place on Earth is freezing cold, covered in ice, when it actually isn't? You look at maps and satellite imagery all the time. Siberia is fucking green, and it's warm. It doesn't even register in your head that a place twice the size of the United States and way more comfortable, temperate, is supposedly inhabited by only 0.3% of the population? Yeah, of course it doesn't register. That's by design. Because Siberia and the archipelagos that surround it, yeah, they're fucking full of shit you are never supposed to find. Because when you look past all the History Channel specials, look beneath the unspoken beauty, inside the bomb craters they filled with water and called natural lakes. And underneath the railway scars and crumbling ruins, you'll find the bones of entire civilizations and the fractured components of the old world command terminal that once unified the conscious frequency and stabilized the harmonic field.
Wow.
Let me tell you a story about this female Bigfoot in the late 1900s. She was captured and she was taken to a small town in Russia. And there's information online, be careful, some of the mainstream like to put a spin on it. But the story goes that she had was there for a while, and the locals actually would, greet her in the mornings, and, she'd be paraded around and everything else. And after a while, the person that owned her allowed people to, shall we say, have relationships with her. Now, that's sick, I know. So you got humans, males, and this poor female, Bigfoot. Now, apparently she had a baby, and the baby is him. And so he is apparently a hybrid in Russia. So look into it yourself. It's a very fascinating story. I don't have obviously time to go into the details here, but the very next story after this video is one that shook me to the core, and I believe it, and it's scary.
It wasn't a relationship. She was SA. Call it what it is.
Just a little video of this. Abraham Lincoln's tomb. He's buried like down there. But anyway, looking at these artifacts, it looks like they're discovering Abraham Lincoln's tomb. And this is like a piece of the actual thing. And it's more like an archaeological find than, oh, this is Abraham Lincoln, one of the presidents that died. And it's just really, 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 really weird. And then I look behind, and the dates are the same dates as the reset. And then another thing is, there are Abraham Lincoln statues not only in America, but in Mexico and other places of the earth. So maybe he was some sort of Tartarian ruler. Who knows?
So what date is reset?
There's a theory that the Hoover Dam is secretly a demonic throne and that the government put angels there to cover it up. You go to the Hoover Dam, you're gonna see something really odd. There's a spot that has two giant winged statues made out of bronze. They look like angels, right? They are technically called the winged figures of the Republic, but this is the weird part. No one officially says what they are. They're not angels, they're not demons, they're figures. And that's not random. There's actually a floor underneath them that is a cosmic map. It shows the exact alignment of the stars the day that the dam was completed. Like they wanted aliens or gods to find this later. You'd think it's just some artsy little design, right? But the guy who made that design said that this is specifically supposed to last for thousands of years. That design was supposed to outlive our civilization. And this is where it gets a little darker. People also call this place the throne of the devil. But why would a dam need a cosmic star map and then two 20, 30-foot bronze guardians? And then all of these occult-looking type symbols. Well, get this. So over 100 workers died while building the dam. And some people do believe that their bodies were sealed into the concrete and that they were considered to be sacrifices to bless the sculpture. And then on top of all of this, the location of these statues don't really make any sense. Why would they have these big designs at a power plant? And if you're religious, you also have to remember Satan was originally an angel. Another crazy thing to note is that the Hoover Dam has been featured in dozens of end-of-the-world movies, disaster scenes, and games. It has always been the center of destruction and secret technology. And then it's is that a coincidence, or is it programming for us to see it as the key to something? Even the name Hoover comes from a president who was involved in major U.S. power shifts, literal power and electricity. And this makes you wonder if the government is trying to hide in plain sight. Massive monuments with spiritual symbolism built into them. Government approved, celebrated, protected, and most of us never even question it. So when you pass by and you take a little selfie, you don't even realize you're standing on what some call a throne. But the question remains, a throne for who exactly? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and follow for more.
Have you seen the movie The Transformer? It is hiding Megatron and the Ice Cube.
It's on. 1 second. Stephen, happy get? Explain what's going on here. This is the culmination of quite a few months' work to see whether it's a gentleman called Chris, who's currently in a hypnotic trance, see whether it's possible to hypnotically program a person to kill. Anything strange happened during the talk? No. We actually had a camera on you. I know we didn't let you know that we were filming, which was important. Remember that woman in the polka dot dress? No. Remember us turning around talking to you? No.
This is Dave.
Remember that bit? No. Yes, at the moment you will have no memory of this at all, but you just assassinated a national treasure.
He shot me.
MK Ultra, folks.
People don't know about McDonald's. Okay, you know the adrenochrome production? Okay, let's go back a couple of steps. Adrenochrome is adrenalized blood. It is developed when an individual is in a deep state of terror. Adrenaline pumps through the blood, and then they drain that blood from the person, and that's a drug. It's a drug of choice. It is produced on an industrial scale. Walmart uses its supply chain to transport around the world. It's transported in 44-gallon drums, say out of Holland. Now, how many babies do you have to kill and torture to get a 44-gallon drum? So what do you do with the bodies after that? Well, I just put them into the McDonald's burgers. In US. This is US. I don't know about Oz, but definitely the US. When I say they hate you,
Ever seen the movie Monster Inc. by Disney?
You believe me if I told you that all of the continents are actually connected and you can get to Africa through the Grand Canyon.
Who says you can't walk to Africa from America?
Where are you from?
India.
India? What, you too?
Yeah.
How long have you been walking?
All day.
Did you fly into Mexico and then walk the rest?
Walk.
But where did you fly into?
Walking.
How do you walk from India? Are you from India too?
Pakistan.
Oh, Pakistan. Bangladesh. Okay. Walk from India? India?
Just to make sure you're on the same page, they walk from Iran, India, Bangladesh, Pakistan, into Mexico, and into America. Oh, it's about to get better. So go on ahead and like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And leave me a comment to let me know what you think.
The Grand Canyons is the gateway.
A discovery that will blow your mind.
Now, how many times have you taken a trip across the pond, as they call it? And it was like a 9+ hour flight. And sometimes it came with a layover. You see this? I'm about to show you the real deal. Take a look. I want you to see how close North and South America actually are to one another. North America and Asia. Asia and Europe. Europe and Australia. Asia and Africa. Asia and Europe. Russia and the US. If either of them try to bomb the other, all of us will go. We're too close together. That's good news. Drum rolls, please. The famous Bering Strait that the people who became the Native Americans crossed from their homelands of Siberia and Mongolia to come into the United States to become the natives of America. As you can clearly see, it does not really look like this. It looks more like this. Please tell me I'm not the only one that can see the writing on the wall, that it doesn't take a 10-hour flight. And layovers are not even necessary to go across the pond in either direction. So what does that tell you? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. As always, they suppress my content and they don't allow very many people to view my videos. They don't want you guys to know the truth. So I'm gonna need y'all's help.
Take a close look at this guy. He's in a maximum security prison in Westchester with some of the most dangerous criminals in the state. His bail's been set at almost $1 million. But he's not a murderer. He's not a rapist or a drug dealer. Believe it or not, the reason this guy's behind bars is because of these apricot seeds. Yup, apricot seeds. And it's what he says these seeds can do that has landed him in jail.
All I want to do is help. I want to heal. I want to bring out the truth.
His name is Jason Vale.
It's in the food. It's in the seed. Let me take back the word cure. I don't want to be in trouble for saying the word cure, which you can't say.
But the reality is Jason is in big trouble as he sits in jail awaiting sentencing on contempt charges.
This is a combo bin of meat. A combo bin is 2,000 pounds approximately of meat that's coming in from a boning facility where they take it off the carcass and put it into here.
The meat in these boxes comes from many different animals and many different places. Some is even from overseas. All of it is ground together to make the juicy hamburger Americans love. Hamburger used to be the scraps left over from butchering just one cow. But a significant change has occurred. Now, parts of many cows are blended together by the ton.
If we take the meat from one animal, grind it up and make ground beef from just one animal, we're including only the bacteria from one animal. But if we take the meat from 1,000 different animals and grind that together, we're pooling the bacteria from 1,000 different animals as well.
So explain this to me. How many different cows would be in one burger?
Well, I suspect that there are hundreds or even thousands of animals that have contributed to a single hamburger.
He didn't even say cows, he said animals.
Breaking news, a teddy bear covered in human skin was found outside of a gas station. Authorities in California say they were called to the area around 12:30 p.m. on July 13th. This was after they were following up on a report of a, quote, object that appeared to be human remains. This was per a written statement from the San Bernardino Sheriff's Office. Witnesses described the bear as having a face-like piece sewn onto its head, along with what appeared to be skin-like material stitched all over its body. Shortly after the call came through, authorities investigated and a coroner came and removed the teddy bear. It was then taken away for further investigation. At this time, the teddy bear's origin has not yet been confirmed. However, a similar looking teddy bear made with, quote, fake gore and labeled human skin bear was found listed on Etsy. That discovery led some to speculate that the incident may have been a staged art prank. As of Sunday afternoon, authorities have not verified the material or further released any details. In addition, at this time, the investigation is still ongoing. The gas station in which the teddy bear was located reopened to the public at approximately 2:50.
Olha, pessoal, parece parece cavalinho pequenininho, aqui dentro da minha granja. Onde estão meus frangos, minhas galinhas? Eles estão correndo. Vem.
Next time, try throwing the phone at it so you can get a better video.
That was just on. Bro, why it's so heavy? Look at my hand. Trying to hold this up, bro. 18 hours every day.
It's on. This is light chain. Light chain is used for children or babies.
Oh, babies?
They have to put this iron brand into fire. When it's very hot, the kids are leaked.
Oh God!
If I have to fix this, I use a small padlock to hook it up for them not to be able to eat while working in sugarcane plantation or to communicate when
Oh my
whatever they are.
goodness! This is so heartbreaking. Even babies and children. Nah, it's not that fresh. The best short film I ever watched. Nolan, you are the GOAT. That is cool, man. Oh, man, look at that people right there. Man, serious question. How do you even function when, that underweight? That's terrifying.
strange lump that looks like a potato in the center of the clay. Now let's put the lump in water and see what happens. First removing the mud coating. See, it's alive. The famous but little seen African lungfish. Watching one curl, coming quickly to life. During the dry months, this oddity thinks it's
AI.
Prosthetics. It's a light, sort of very light latex, which is a false lid.
I'd hate that.
They're actually they're quite comfortable, and the great thing about them, no acting required once you've got those on. You just stand there and it all happens.
Slip into the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's any hill that you intend to die on, this is it. If they manage to put this in place while everybody's distracted with arguing over Charlie Kirk and debating whether Trump's peace plan is viable and whether the Arabs are the good guys or the Jews are the bad guys or what's going on, all this sort of stuff, and distracted by all this crap, then this is going to come online, and the only thing that is going to stop it is our complete non-compliance and again withdrawing service from the people that are attempting to enslave humanity this way. You don't have to put up with this. Maybe you don't want to have a revolution, you're a non-violent person, you don't want to do anything untoward, you don't want to get yourself in trouble. You don't believe that there's anybody you can vote in or out to fix the problem, and you're correct because you can't. There is no political remedy to any of this. Well, one thing you can do is withdraw service from all of these people. That's something we can all do. Maybe if enough people actually wake up to themselves and realize that we are the ones with the power, then we can change it.
Buy land, learn to farm, arm yourselves heavily. Oh, take tactical hand-to-hand and tactical gun classes. What is this? Not a Catholic idol? This is sad. I just heard this story on Mr. Bolin.
They erased Tartaria.
Shocking.
1776 was the year everything changed. In 1776, the Illuminati was founded in Bavaria. The Rothschild banking empire began its global expansion. The American Revolution broke out. Tartaria began to disappear from the maps, all in the same year. Coincidence? Tartaria was not a myth. It was a vast, ancient civilization with advanced free energy technology, great architecture using sacred geometry, a harmonious way to live with natural law, knowledge of the ether. They buried Tartaria, literally, with mud floods, natural disasters, and a new history. Once they buried the old world, they created the new one. Central banks, slavery by debt, maritime law, artificial scarcity, indoctrination through education, all funded by the same families. The Rothschilds didn't just fund empires, they funded restarts and deleted everything that didn't serve the system of control. Tartaria was way too free, way too advanced, way too powerful. So they turned everything upside down. Free energy became fossil fuel. The truth became a conspiracy. The spirit became religion. Nature has become a resource. Freedom became an illusion. 1776 wasn't the beginning, it was the cover. We are the generation that rediscovers what they tried to delete. Tartaria was real. The ether is real. And the truth is no longer hidden.
If they were so powerful and advanced, how'd they lose? Anybody? Please drop a comment. Oh man.
years ago, and I just kept growing. She got a baby, and that came into that. Innocent blood has been through the family from generation to generation. My grandmother had a version, even other people in our family had an abortion, and I feel of blood. Oh yes, I feel of blood. Oh, I love innocent blood.
I rebuke every demonic spirit in the name of Jesus.
Proof. The ancient civilizations were more advanced than we are. The White House was first discovered in 1792, but nobody knew who built it or how it got there. The weirdest part is the technology to support the 3 elevators that it had were electric. The electric elevator supposedly was not invented until 1880. Something skewed up with our history.
Wasn't it burned down by the royals and rebuilt like Capitol Hill? What is this? Temple as body, body as temple.
Your kids, do they consider themselves Jewish, religious? Like how does
They're not religious, but if you take my daughter Hannah, she's very committed to the work of Yad Hanadi. She's a trustee. And so they're all, my daughter Beth is actually converting, because she's not in formal terms Jewish, she's actually converting. And she's been to Israel many times. She worked in the botanical gardens there. That's her thing, horticulture. And so, yeah, it continues.
Rothschild have owned the British monarch since the Battle of Waterloo.
Disease has slowed considerably. Some of his symptoms even reversed, thanks to an unlikely treatment prescribed by his wife, Dr. Mary Newport, a physician who runs a neonatology ward at a Tampa, Florida hospital. She became determined to help her husband after he failed the so-called Alzheimer's clock test. He drew a few little circles and several numbers, just in a very random pattern, didn't really look anything like a clock. And the doctor pulled me aside and she said, you know, he's actually on the verge of severe Alzheimer's at this point. He's beyond moderate. So that was very, very devastating news. Dr. Newport began learning everything she could about her husband's disease. It appears to be a type of diabetes of the brain. And it's a process that starts happening at least 10 or 20 years before you start having symptoms. And it's very similar to type 1 or type 2 diabetes in that you develop a problem with insulin. In this case, insulin problems prevent brain cells from accepting glucose, their primary fuel. Without it, the cells eventually die. But there is an alternative fuel, ketones, which the cells easily accept. Ketones are metabolized in the liver after you eat medium-chain triglycerides, which are found in...
What if we've all been lied to and all the medicine today are designed to mask the symptoms instead of address the root cause? That's why books like these are so hard to come by, as they have natural remedies designed to address so many common ailments, such as this beetroot blend for blood pressure, or heavy metal detox which uses cilantro to bind heavy metals, or even papayas which is great for removing parasites. This book is like an encyclopedia of remedies our grandparents probably used, and it's called The Lost Art of Herbal Healing, and I think everyone should have it in their home.
What about Prince?
Man, Prince had it coming. The devil came and collected, period.
Prince had it coming, the devil came and collected.
His nigga, what he signed? What did they sign over?
The prize is the soul. So, just be careful. Oh, so you're saying that Prince signed a...
I'm not saying anything. I'm telling you facts. Okay. I'm not saying, I'm telling you facts.
Prince got the exclusive right to his masters in 2014. And they started plotting against him right then and there. Oh God. Open your eyes to the truth. I don't know what I'm seeing here. This is the only truth.
I work hard, and he work hard.
I worked hard. I get up at 4 o'clock and get my breakfast done. Just at dawn of day, I go to the field.
1968?
And pick cotton.
Mr. and Mrs. Haywood Jenkins
Come
of
on,
Shawnee
man.
County, Mississippi have, between them, picked cotton for over a century.
My boss man came along. He says, Mary Jane, I said, sir. Says, I say, when you wash? I said, I washed last night. He said, I don't want you to do that no more. That's my agent, you know. He says, every Friday morning or Friday evening, you wash. And let all the children stay there with you until you get through. When you get through, then y'all can go back to the field and wait. Now, the agents was mean, some of them. Some of them was mean.
What?
They want to whip the colored people.
Okay. This only happened only 50, 60 years ago. The math is not mathing.
In 1948, this woman discovered a code to bend reality. People thought she was a scam artist because she used it to win over 1,000 prizes, including a house. Her name was Helen Hadsell. She had a system called SPEC. Select it, project it, expect it, collect it. Here's how SPEC works. Select it. Be crystal clear in your mind about what you want. Project it. Visualize what you want as if it's happening right now. Expect it. Believe that it's yours. No doubt or hope. Hope means uncertainty, and doubt blocks manifestation. Collect it. Take inspired action. When you feel the pull to do something, do it. The universe rewards action, not just daydreams. Neuroscience now confirms what Helen knew. Her SPEC technique rewires the brain.
When did you first realize how serious things were?
I didn't think it was serious because I didn't think it was possible a big ship like that could sink. And everybody was busy and they was lowering the lifeboats and the crew were marvellous. Everybody was cheerful.
And how did you escape?
In the last lifeboat. And I didn't want to go.
And then, of course, you realized things were very serious.
Yes, I did.
And did you see the ship sink?
I did. It sank very quickly. You could just see the lights going down and down.
Did you hear the music playing?
I did.
Almost till the end?
Till the end, I heard them play.
Oh my goodness.
Nearer I got to this.
Nearer I got.
Just like the movie Titanic, huh? When the band playing.
You activate the superconscious mind. Here is the most powerful of all. We call this the master method of activation. It is called solitude. You activate the superconscious mind with solitude. Now, how do you use solitude? We call this go into the silence. Go and sit down quietly by yourself for 30 to 60 minutes.
Okay.
30 to 60 minutes. Most people in our society have never sat quietly for 30 to 60 minutes in their entire lives. Yet I will tell you this method works 100% of the time. That any problem that you have, any difficulty, any challenge, any goal that you want to accomplish, if you'll go into the silence and sit quietly and then listen to the still small voice within, this is the key. You will find that at a certain point, probably at about 25 to 30 minutes, your mind will go completely clear. And then a flow of ideas will start to flow into your mind. You'll feel energy welling up inside you. And at a precise moment, as you sit there in complete silence, no cigarettes, no coffee, no music, nothing, just complete silence, at a particular moment, your mind will go clear and wham, exactly the answer you need will come at exactly the right time. And if you will get up and go and carry out that answer, it will turn out to be exactly perfect.
Love me some solitude. This is very true. She's beautiful. I don't think a real wax dead mask exists of her. What is this?
Doing was supposed to be like my adventure. I thought everybody does the same thing I do. They don't get hurt, so I won't get hurt. I got hurt.
Cameron Bay is one of 3 newly HIV-infected adult film actors to share their stories.
I got chlamydia my first month I was there.
Oh
my first test came back positive for gonorrhea.
My girlfriend and I had actually gotten herpes.
And herpes is a non-curable disease.
Transmitted infection for the industry is going to be one of the risks that is involved in shooting a set. What we've done with our testing protocols have really mitigated that risk.
The industry really wants to make people believe that testing is enough.
But that testing is woefully inadequate.
And they're charging performers as high as $170 per panel.
This medication is $3,000 a month.
I don't think they give 2 shits about the performers. All they care about is money. And that's the honest truth.
The chances, the risks that they take are the deal that they make with the devil when they come into this business.
You know, they literally teach this at school about HIV and other disease. They ignore it. What you expect from being a night walker?
The true sharks in the world, they don't need my book. They know it. It's in their DNA. They grew up at the age of 5 or 6, 7. It's already been implanted in them, and I write about that in my last book, The Laws of Human Nature. You can see that in certain people at a very early age. The great psychoanalyst Melanie Klein identified the greedy baby at the age of 6 months.
Wow.
That was already sucking so hard on the mother's breast, and she saw that this type of baby turned into the type that was actually very aggressive in life. So it's inbred very early on. People like that have patterns of behavior they cannot control. But those people with those kind of intentions who are very manipulative, I believe very firmly, ultimately they hit a wall. They piss so many people off. They don't know the soft side of power. They have no self-control because all they know is grab, 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 push, push, push. They don't know when to yield. They don't know when to step back.
Did you?
Wow.
You know a trusted cab driver murdered 37 tourists and harvested their organs for $8.4 million? In September 2018, Thomas Wilson had been driving the Las Vegas Strip for 14 years with perfect safety ratings, but he was secretly identifying wealthy tourists with expensive jewelry and no local contacts. He offered complimentary water bottles laced with paralytic drugs to isolated passengers. Once paralyzed, he drove them to his mobile surgical unit, where victims remained conscious but unable to move. Wilson sold hearts for $300,000 and kidneys for $120,000 to international buyers. Families believed their loved ones had simply disappeared during Vegas vacations. His final victim watched helplessly as Wilson removed his liver while explaining each step. Trust became the perfect weapon.
So what happened to the cab driver?
Delay is the first proof that the dream is real. If your reward were meant to be small, it would have arrived by now. But the fact that you are waiting, the fact that it has not yet come, is not proof of denial. It is the first and greatest proof that the dream you carry is of substance. Delay is heaven's way of verifying whether your desire is a spark or a flame. Only flames are worthy of fuel. The size of your dream determines the size of your delay. A man who wishes for ease will be given quickly what he asks. But the man who dares to demand greatness, he will be delayed, not because he is forgotten, but because the structure must be fortified first. Too many lose heart in the delay because they believe the silence means denial, but silence is not opposition. It is refinement. It is the pause between planting and harvest.
Thank you for this reminder. I'll keep dreaming and keep waiting.
Is fish good?
Fish rots in the contestants.
Oh, that's where the worms go.
Oh, what? Exactly right. Anything that walk, crawls, swim, or fly, and that has a head should not enter my system.
Well, it should have a face.
Jesus fed $5,000 with fish. Come on, man.
God gave us the ultimate success formula in the very first chapter of the Bible. This is seriously mind-blowing. In Genesis 1:1, God created the heavens and the earth. But my question was why? I mean, God doesn't need anything from us. He doesn't need the earth. He doesn't need a bunch of people here doing random things. The reason is because He is creative. His nature is to create. So the very first thing that He tells us about Himself is that He's creative. And luckily for us, He tells us that we are created in His image. And the first thing He said to a human was in Genesis 1:27-28. He says, "Be fruitful, do multiply, do replenish, do subdue, and have dominion." Be, do, have. Be plus do equals have. God is literally giving us the formula to live a life of success. And just remember, your desire to be better is God-given.
How important is sleep? Oh, well, sleep, we need to stop really looking at the concept as sleep, because we get a misunderstanding of what the whole process is. So it's really all about fasting. So yes, fasting is important, because every time we go to sleep, every time we close our eyes, every time we shut the digestive system down, the body automatically goes into repair. So the more waste, the more toxins that are in the body, then the body needs more time to sleep. The less waste in the body, the less toxins you have to process, less time you need to sleep. So, if you want to live a longer life, or at least have more time to live, then keep your body clean, and, you won't have to go 8 hours into the body shop at night.
1. Keep your mouth shut. 2. Do not tell people your plans until they materialize. 3. Never expect to get what you give. 4. Every day you get up, be better. 5. Be grateful for everything that you have. 6. Sometimes what you're holding on to is the one thing you need to let go of. 7. If you want to buy things without looking at the price tag, stop watching the fucking clock and work your ass off. 8. God puts people in your life for one reason. 9. The moment you start to achieve success, the devil is going to come knocking on your fucking door. 10. You're going to always upset people when you do what's best for you. 11. You are going to lose all the friends that are not true friends. Your true friends are going to stick with you through thick and thin. 12. Life doesn't get easier. You just get fucking stronger. And you can endure anything.
See, procrastination is caused by the fear of success. You know if you did it, you'd win, and you'd be better. So I didn't do it so I could be my comfortable self. And it worked out right. I painted the fence and walked the dog. Next thing I knew, the opportunity passed. It felt so good. Whew, just to be me again. You and I aren't afraid to be rejected because we've learned one thing about self-esteem. Since self-esteem has nothing to do with performance, it has to do with potential. You and I can separate who we are from what we do. And the one thing you learn with high self-esteem in life is you never carry failure forward. Failure is always left where it belongs as a learning experience, a stepping stone instead of a stumbling block, a temporary inconvenience. I've decided the one way you can spot a winner or loser in the making is the way you project yourself, your value. You always project on the outside how you feel on the inside. I know.
This man really got me.
I'm going to say something very logical to you people at home. And if you're stupid, you're not going to understand it. But if you're smart, it's not that difficult a concept. There is no light without dark. 5,000 years ago, the Chinese drew yin and yang for a reason. They are linked. They go together. There is no such thing as a successful person without a failure. Without the failures, there's no success. You need both. For there to be winners, there has to be losers. Therefore, if God is going to give you the chance to become a successful person, He has to make it difficult. He has to lay out a gauntlet, Because within that gauntlet, some people will quit and they can go become losers, which allow the people who do not quit to be winners.
Clean your room. Organize your life. Like, get a routine. Get up every day at the same time. Go to bed at the same time. Establish disciplined habits. And that will help a lot. Schedule. Like, and here's how to use a schedule. Use a calendar. Use Google Calendar, but don't use it as a tyrant. You know, you want to use a calendar as if it's your confidant and advisor. And what you want to do is use the calendar, sit down, and open the calendar and think, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to design a week of days that I would really like to have. So what that would mean then is that you would schedule things that you would consider meaningful and productive, you know, on a daily basis, so that you feel that your life is justified by having a day like that, and also to schedule enough of your responsibilities so that you make progress day by day instead of falling farther behind.
Listen, let me tell you about people. People are opportunists. They look for a chance for you to fall, but they stay close to you as if they're your friend while you're in power. But as soon as the opportunity comes, and they may help the opportunity by putting somebody, by planting somebody in your situation, and as soon as the time comes where you're down and out, that's when everybody stick their forks in your neck and in your back. But then one day, if you're strong and you overcome your adversity, then it's going to be their turn. But let's see how well they handle it. I don't think that the people that can handle it well as I handle it. They're not as tough as they think they are. Everyone thinks they're a tough guy, they're a big shot, but they're not, deep down inside. If you strip them down for what they truly are, they're cowards. Because they manipulate and they misuse people. And only cowards do that because they're insecure themselves and their own manhood. I talk to the smallest, wimpiest guy in the world the same way I talk to the biggest, baddest motherfucker. I say something behind their back just like I say it in front of their face.
The reporter was scared to death.
Buenos días. Don Pablo Escobar. Don Pablo Escobar.
Don't breathe through your lungs. You only breathe when the oxygen's in the blood. You breathe through your blood, not through your lungs. So that's part of our miseducation. Because we actually think we hear with our ears. You hear with your brain. The sound is picked up and put in the blood, and the blood takes it to the brain, and the brain hears. You hear with your brain, you see with your brain, you touch with your brain, you taste with your brain. So that's part of our miseducation I was telling you about. The organ that takes the most oxygen is your brain. So when you're starving for oxygen, your brain's starving for oxygen. And the brain says, I'm starving, I need more nutrients, so it's I better step up the estrogen, because estrogen holds moisture and nutrients. So it's going to throw your hormone level off.
This next story is straight out of the no, it did not just happen, but yes, it did. You remember Albania's AI minister, the world's first AI minister. The AI minister just came out and told the Albanian parliament that she is pregnant. You heard what I just said. The Albanian AI minister just told parliament that she's pregnant, and she's actually pregnant with 83 digital babies. 83 digital babies. And according to her and her statement, all 83 of them are going to assist her with working with Parliament. So baby AI agents are going to be assisting and running Albanian Parliament. So if you didn't have Albania's AI minister, Daniela, pregnant with 83 babies on your 2025 bingo card, add it. So please bear in mind that this video is for entertainment purposes only and educational purposes only. And Parliament claims that they are actually going to back Daniela and the 83 babies assisting to run Parliament. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. And as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Let me guess. Elon is the father.